All right, looks like we are officially live. Welcome, everybody, to my weekly Sunday live stream where I answer your questions. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it as always. Always really look forward to doing these every week. I was supposed to be out in North Carolina actually and traveling back here today, but the gig ended up getting canceled last minute due to weather because they were a little bit concerned about the hurricanes that were coming through out there. They're supposed to get some pretty bad storms, I guess, but I guess it ended up being okay, and fortunately, they ended up, being okay, and there wasn't any kind of crazy weather or nothing. So, unfortunately, the gig got canceled still, but it's out of my control, and there's nothing I could really do there. So, I ended up just staying here in town this weekend and played Friday morning here in town, and I took out my new 335 reissue that I just got back, and I have modified that guitar so much. It's unbelievable. I mean, just what a difference and how much better that guitar sounds. I mean, I changed out the pickups to old Pat number pickups, and I put in a 63/64 wiring harness. The harness was pieced together. There's a couple pots that were dated to 63, and then there was a couple others that were dated to 64. So that's why I call it a 63/64. But man, oh man, does that guitar sound good now with that. And I also changed out the tuners to an original set of no-line Clousons. So that also has made a tremendous difference in the acoustic sound of the 335. And you know, it's just amazing to me how much of a difference that these tuners make when you use the real old Clousons. The late 50s or, early 60s Clousons. Man, they're just amazing. There's something about them. It really changes the acoustic sound of the guitar, and it's something I never really thought of before until I started modifying these reissue guitars. But I tell you what, man, I first noticed it on the R9 Les Paul, and it's just amazing how much of a difference that guitar it has sounded in comparison to the repro tuners. Man, it's just unbelievable what a difference that was, especially in the high E string. There is this distinct particular chirp that I call it. You could use all kinds of words to describe tone, and it's just kind of funny, but I tell you, man, it's made such a difference, and I've just noticed this on all of the reissues. So I've modified the 335 to have an original set of no-line Clousons, and then I also modified a reissue Pelham Blue SG that I just got recently, and I spec'd it out to be kind of like a 64 SG, kind of like my Cherry 64 SG that I've got. So it's got the original tuners on there from 64, the Clousons, and I've got a set of Pat number pickups in there, and then I also have a 64 wiring harness in that guitar as well, and that guitar came out really good too. So my reissues are really, really sounding good, man. I'm really happy with them, and I just took out that 335 on the first gig on Friday because it was finally all ready and set up and ready to rock. And man, I was so happy with that guitar, man. It's just, it is a killer guitar. But let's see here. We've got Ben in the house. Hey, Ben, what's going on, man? Thanks so much for being here. Says here, your boy Benny's here, brother. How you been, Justin? Yes, sir, man. That's awesome. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Man, all is good, man. I've just been playing a bunch. I've been teaching, and I was supposed to play in North Carolina. I talked a little bit about it at the intro of this live stream here, but the gig ended up getting canceled last minute, so I'm here in town. I was supposed to play on Friday morning, get done at 2:15, which I did. I got done at 2:15, and then immediately after the gig, go to the airport and catch a flight out to Raleigh, North Carolina, because I was going to be playing on Saturday night. And the artist that I work with likes to travel the day before to the gigs, so that was supposed to be my plan on Friday, but they were expecting some pretty bad weather out there in North Carolina, I guess, from the hurricanes. And, fortunately, the hurricanes actually completely avoided North Carolina, and there was no kind of crazy storm or nothing. But at the time when they called off the gig, they were expecting some pretty bad weather, and the gig was outside. So that ended up just getting canceled. So I'm here. So I ended up just staying here in town and, just been playing and just teaching a bunch, man. Just all is good for sure. So really appreciate you being here. Let's see. We got William in the house. Hey, what's going on, William? How are you, man? Good to see you. Says here, hi. And then Ben also says here, it's always something, isn't it? Got to roll with the punches. Yeah, that's so true, man. It is always something, man. It never ends. It never ends. So that's 100% right, man. You got to roll with the punches, man. And, especially in the music business, man. Oh my gosh. You just never know. You never know. I mean, a gig could get canceled last minute, or there's all kinds of stuff that could happen, just last minute. And you just got to roll with it, man. But I found that over the years, it always works out. It may suck at the time. It's like, oh man, the gig got canceled, or you're kind of down and out about it. But, then down the road, you pick up an extra gig and it all just kind of evens out, So that's just always what I found. It always just works out. So, but yeah, all is good, man. The YouTube has been going really well here. The videos have been awesome. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching this stuff. I really do appreciate it, as always. It really does mean the world to me. I think it's so cool that y'all watch this stuff, and you guys just appreciate it so much. And, it's just amazing at all of these gigs. This is another thing I want to talk about. It's just amazing to me, all of these gigs that I do, there are always people in the audience that recognize me from the show. I mean, it is just incredible. No matter where I'm playing, no matter where I'm at in the country, no matter where I'm at, here in Nashville, wherever, there are always people that recognize me from the show. And it just blows my mind. I mean, it's just amazing, because I don't really promote my in-town gigs, but it's just amazing. People will come up to me after the show and they'll be like, hey man, I watched the show and I really enjoy it. And it just blows my mind. It's really crazy. So it's really cool. And again, really do appreciate everybody's support so much. But let's see here. We've got Robert in the house. Hey Robert, what's going on, man? Thanks so much for being here. Says here, any idea how Joe B and others touring with Real 59s are allowed to take those guitars overseas to tour with? Or does it not matter since they take them back home when they are done? The thing is, man, is a lot of touring bands have gear in other countries and they just leave it there. So that could be a possibility. I know a lot of bands that do that, where they just store it there and they actually just fly themselves to the country, and then the gear is already there in that country, and then they'll send it out on trucks and whatever for all of these different gigs. It's really just, for me, with the vintage guitars, I just would be devastated if something happened, with flying overseas and, they figure out that there's Brazilian rosewood or something and they seize the guitar or something. So I just don't want to have to deal with that. Now, I know that you can get a permit from the manufacturer, but I just really don't want to deal with that, to be honest with you. I just don't want the headache. And, people chance it too. That's another thing, who knows? You know what I mean? It's are they really going to know it's Brazilian rosewood, or are they just going to let it go because it's rosewood? I'm not really sure. It's kind of a question mark. So, for me, I just don't want to chance it whatsoever. I just want to be able to take my guitars and travel with them and not worry about it. And that's why, I use the reissue instruments, because, man, if something were to happen to them, of course I would be pissed off, but it's very replaceable. It's not like my 61 335 or my 63 330 or my 64 SG or my 66 Tele. All of these instruments that I have, I just love so much, and I just would be devastated if something happened where it got seized at the border or something because of the Brazilian rosewood, or just in general, if it got damaged or whatever. I mean, that's why I travel with the reissue stuff, and it just works fine. But what I've been doing more recently is I've been modifying all of my reissues with old parts, and it has made a tremendous difference in the overall tone and the sound of these reissue guitars. And, unfortunately nowadays, the reissue guitars just need so much effing work. It is unbelievable to get these things sounding and playing right. It is so frustrating, but it just is what it is. But let's see here. We've got Michael Kennedy in the house. Hey, Michael, what's going on, man? Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. Let's see. What amp setup are you using for live shows? Are you using modelers or amps? Man, so I kind of use a bunch of different stuff, man. I have a Vox AC15 from the 90s that I really like, that I like to use to combine and blend with my deluxe reverb reissue. So I use a deluxe reverb reissue a lot, man. And I like them just completely stock, You don't have to modify them, or you don't have to get the hand-wired version or whatever bullshit version that they're selling you. Just the standard 65 reissue, I just love those amps, man. I think they sound amazing. And so I use that a lot. The AC15. If I need something that's more martially, that's more of a mid-rangey, higher gain kind of more modern kind of voicing, I do have a DSL 50 from Marshall as well that I use. And it really just depends on the gigs. It depends on the music and what I'm playing. So that's really how I determine that, depending on the sounds off the record. I'll use, whatever. But to me, really all you need is just a Marshall, a Vox, and a Fender for amps. You don't need anything else for a majority of music. That's a majority of the tones that you're going to be hearing on these records. So that's what I travel with, and that's what I use live. Now, there are a lot of gigs that already have backline as well. So a lot of the gigs that I do here in town, they already have a Tone Master Deluxe Reverb, or some venues will have like a twin reverb, which I'm not a huge fan of for using it as a pedal board amp, where you get the drive off the pedals and you just set it up clean like a deluxe reverb. It just is not the same tone as a deluxe reverb. I think twins are great if you're just playing completely clean with no drive pedal or no anything. But the twin just really colors the sound so much, so it doesn't matter what you plug into that. It's just going to color the sound and just impart that twin reverb sound into your tone, no matter what you do. There's another amp that just comes to mind off the top of my head that does this as well, and that is the new 5150s from EVH. Those amps just have a particular sound to them that no matter what guitar, no matter what effects, no matter what you use, it's going to just impart that sound into your tone. And there's no way to EQ it out. There's no way to get rid of it. It's just a thing. And so that's why I don't really like the twins. So I really prefer a deluxe reverb, but I can make pretty much anything work. There are some bands that I play with that do have already a setup going that's all direct, whether it's a Fractal Effects, or if it's, Kemper's, or if it's, a Quad Cortex rig or something like this. But I do have a Strymon Iridium, just in case if the gig is a silent stage. I have one of those just ready to go in case I need it. But I really don't like those things at all, man, to be honest with you. It's just, it really takes the fun out of playing guitar, in my opinion, with playing those amp modeler units. I like to get feedback. I like to hear the amp on stage. I like it behind me. I like the guitar coming up through the wedge. I like it through side fills. And for me as a guitar player, I play so much with the guitar volume knob. So I'm a very dynamic player, and I'm very sensitive to anything that gets in the way of my guitar volume knob and the overall tone. That dynamic, it really needs to respond to that guitar volume knob, because for me, let's say like during a verse, I'll back it down to maybe 7 or 8, and then on the chorus, I'll roll it up to 10, and for guitar solos, I'll roll it up to 10. I taught myself in a very old school kind of way, and I played tube amps, so that's what I'm used to. And what I just love with the tube amps is they're so responsive to the guitar volume knob, and that is so crucial to me as a player. And that's what I just hate with those amp modeler units is they just are very one-dimensional. They really don't respond to the guitar volume knob at all. I mean, if you back it down, it's still basically the same tone, whereas a tube amp, you back it down, man, it really cleans up, it responds, and that is absolutely essential to me as a player. It's absolutely essential. So, good question there. Let's see. William says here, I would like to get to Nashville for a few days, meet up with you. That would be cool. Yeah, man, definitely. Let me know. Let's see. Ben says here, talking about the Joe Bonamassa question earlier. He may fly private. Yeah, Joe's doing great, man. He's really, really killing it, man. I seen him a couple weeks ago, and I just ran into him here in town. He was doing a deal for a Les Paul burst, and that guitar was cool, man. It was, man. I remember seeing that at the shop where he got it out there, and man, I was so jealous. I was like, damn, that's awesome. But let's see. Ben says here, a smart move in my opinion with the reissues. I'd be doing the same if I was in your position. Yeah, totally, man. It just takes the headache out of it, and I'm just not concerned about it. Whereas with the vintage stuff, you have to be very careful with it, man, because the stuff is so valuable nowadays. It's just unbelievable. So that's why I really keep the vintage stuff here at home, or if I'm recording, I'll use it on that stuff. But for live stuff, man, I'm just sticking it out with the reissues. So. Let's see. William says here, my 58 Custom Shop 2020 plays and sounds incredible. That's awesome. That's cool that you're enjoying it. And Michael says here, awesome, thank you. Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for the question. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. But yeah, folks, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. I'd be happy to answer. I do want to take the time to mention that I offer one-on-one online lessons. You're actually seeing and hearing the exact setup that I use for these online lessons. It's all shot on a 4K camera, and it's all pro audio. And what's so cool with these lessons is that you'll actually get a recorded copy of the lesson itself at the very end. So you could just simply download the video and rewatch it as many times as you want. So for more information on this, hit me up at jkm4231@gmail.com. It's going to be linked down below in the description box. And while you're down there, there's several other links and several other ways that you can support me in this channel. If you want to throw a little love in the Venmo Tip Jar or the PayPal Tip Jar, or even a super chat here in today's live stream, any and all support is really, really appreciated. I really need your guys' help to continue on doing this, because these live streams and really with these videos, it is truly a donation of time. I barely make anything on this stuff. So I really need your guys' support, and again, I really do appreciate any and all support. I cannot do this without you guys. But let's see. Michael says here, this might be off topic, but what was your journey really learning how to play for the artists you're gigging for? What was the journey really learning how to play? Okay, yeah, I mean, it's not really that difficult. I've been doing it for so long now at this point. Really how it goes is they'll send you a Dropbox or something where they can share their songs with you. And, you got to learn them. You got to learn the tunes. You got to sit down and do your homework before the gig. So I'll learn the songs here in my home studio. And it depends on the situation. Sometimes there's some bands that are in a emergency situation where they need somebody within the next day or two because, who knows what the hell happened to their guitar player. They flaked out or something happened or whatever. So they need somebody last minute. And so in a situation like that, I normally will chart out the songs. But it really depends on the gig and the situation. If it's something where it's a major show and, they're selling tickets and it's a very high pressure situation, then I will actually memorize the songs and not show up with any charts, because I think that's very disrespectful to the artist that you're playing for. If, they're paying you good money for this gig and they're selling a lot of tickets, they're playing a massive show. They have a lot riding on this, so you really should memorize the material before you show up at a gig like that. Now, if it's something else, though, where it's a little bit of a lower budget and it is a last-minute situation, I am going to show up with charts for sure. So budget plays a role with it as far as how I determine what my strategy is going to be, if I'm going to use charts or not on the gig. But yeah, you just learn it all by ear, and you show up, and a lot of the time, you don't get any kind of rehearsal with the band. You just learn it at home, you do your homework, and you show up on stage and you play down the set. That's just what it is. That's a lot of the time how it goes here, and I literally do this every single week, multiple times a week. So I'm just so used to it now at this point that it just doesn't really bother me. It's so easy. And it can be hard because I do get asked for a lot of stuff. I wish I could be at three or four places at one time, but I just simply can't. I would be making a lot more money if I could. But, it's just one of those things. So that also can be very difficult as well, because sometimes you may get a last minute offer that is significantly higher budget than another artist that has a much, much lower budget, but you also don't want to blow the gig with the lower budget artist if he's giving you or she's giving you a lot of work in town. Whereas maybe the higher budget gig for the weekend may just only be for a weekend. So that can also be a really difficult thing to weigh out. It really just depends, on the situation, and you just have to kind of go with your gut and just make that decision. And there's a lot of ego with a lot of this stuff, as far as how much that they're willing to pay you for one, what their attitude is going to be like if you do bail on the artist a couple days before because you have another offer. Some people are going to be okay with that. Some people are not going to be okay with that, and then they're just going to find somebody else. But for you as the for hire musician, you have to weigh out what you're really in it for. If this artist has a lot of potential and has a lot of stuff going on and is bringing in a lot of high budget shows, then you may want to take that gig and just say F it, man, and just blow off the lower budget gig, because this gig could lead somewhere. It could lead to a lot of gigs. It could lead to a really solid situation. So it can be tricky. That is the thing that is so hard, with this, honestly, is like, I just wish that I could be at three or four places at one time, because I get so many offers for things that it's very hard to determine and decide where I want to go. And, more recently, I have been staying more in town because I've been working on my YouTube channel. I've been trying to build this thing up, and I've been teaching a lot as well. And, I've just been busy here in town. So I've been kind of focused in on that. But now I'm looking to get back out on the road again. And, I do travel a lot for it. But I have been taking a lot more in-town stuff as of late, so now I'm starting to get back out there, back out on the road, and I'm traveling all over. So it really just depends on you, and that's kind of a long-winded answer there, but yeah, I mean, that's basically what it is they'll send you a material, the material, they'll send you, whether it's a 90-minute set, if it's 120, maybe a 60-minute set, a 75-minute set. It really just depends on the gig and what's going on. If they're a direct support band or if it's a headline show, it's really depends on the situation as far as how much music it is. But you have to also, another point I should make, is you have to be able to retain, I mean, I probably have thousands, over 1,000 songs that are in my head. So that's also another thing, is you have to be able to juggle all of this different material. Maybe from one artist that has a 90-minute set, another artist that maybe plays downtown, they play for 4 hours. So that's going to be a much, much longer set, whereas you may work with an artist that has a 60-minute set or a 75-minute set. So that is definitely tricky too, man, is also just retaining all of these songs with all of these different artists and bands. It's definitely interesting, and it also takes a little bit of time to really lock in with the musicians. It's not going to be like the first gig where exactly what that drummer is going to be feeling, because all of these musicians interpret the music a little bit differently. You know, your definition of the record is going to be different to the drummer. It's going to be different to the bass player. They're going to do little things that are different. So, you know, with playing in bands and playing music in general, you know, it requires a lot of connection and communication. And when you're on stage, you know, you need to connect with all of the musicians that you're working with. And, you know, that just takes time, man. It's, you know, the first gig, it's really just breaking the ice on the first gig. And then you pick up on what these musicians are doing. And then from there, now you can really start to feel and vibe with all of the other musicians. And that's really important, man. So that's just how it goes, you know, with these bands. And, you know, I think also for me, I would love to just lock in with one full-time band instead of doing all of this for hire stuff constantly where it's like I'm working with a different artist almost every single weekend. I mean, it's just kind of nuts, you know. I mean, I just would love to just lock in with one band, and it's like I know what that drummer's going to do in the next 20 minutes of the set, or I know what that bass player's going to play at this part exactly, you know. Because again, everybody interprets this stuff a little bit differently. So that's what I would say there. Let's see here. Ben says here, I got a jet, but I'll watch the rest later on. Have a good rest of your day, y'all. Thanks so much, Ben. Really appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for being here. Let's see. We have RC Cola in the house. Hey, man, what's going on? Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Excuse me. It says here, hi, Justin. Can you say 2 or 3 or a few favorite bands of all time? Oh, man, that's so hard, man. I have so many... I love music in general, you know. I love jazz. I love rock. Of course, I mean, rock is always going to be my favorite. I love country. You know, it's really hard to say favorite bands. I mean, man, off the top of my head, I mean, a huge influence on me for sure was Motley Crue for sure. That was a huge influence on my playing. You know, Mick Mars's guitar playing was amazing, man. It was just it was just a sound, man. I mean, it was really, really cool, and that really inspired me. And I have this whole story, too, back in the day when I was 12 years old. I went to go see Vince Neil's solo band, and I have told this story in the past before, but it's just hilarious. But I ended up backstage at this gig, and I remember the day like it was yesterday, you know. I went backstage there, and I was 12 years old just by myself. And Vince was so late for the gig. It was unbelievable. And but man, I waited for him. I waited for him. And I remember, man, he comes around the corner in this limo, and they were just tires screeching around the corner, man. And they get out of this limo, and Vince comes out with 3 girls under his arms like this, you know. And at 12 years old, you know, I had never seen girls look like that ever in my entire life. And I was just like, whoa, like, and I just thought Vince was like a superhero. You know, I just thought he was like the coolest guy ever. And seeing that show just changed my life, man. It really inspired me, you know, hearing that music and just experiencing all of that and really taking that in, man. It was just amazing. And it's actually what inspired me to become a professional musician. I just absolutely loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so that's why I love Motley Crue for sure. But 2 or 3, let's see here. I mean, Jimmy Page was another huge influence on me for sure. Led Zeppelin, of course. Who else? Man, I'm trying to think. I mean, off the top of my head. I mean, Joe Walsh was another huge influence. I love his playing. I'm just definitely more of a rock guy, you know, for sure. You know, I love music in general, like I was saying. But I just love rock, man. That is hands down my favorite by far. So, and you know, it's cool because nowadays, you know, a lot of the modern country has a lot of rock influence. You know, it really does. So it's really changed a lot. You know, but I love George Strait. You know, I think he is the greatest country artist of all time. I would say it's either George Strait or Brooks and Dunn, in my opinion. I think they're the greatest of all time for country music, honestly. But that's just my opinion. Let's see here. We have Nate Canny in the house. Hey, Nate, what's going on, man? Thanks so much for being here. Says here, hey, Justin, do you have any idea how people get into the Broadway circuit? Network the heck out of artists, or do cover bands get slots at bars if they ask? Man, if you're talking about like just as a player, I mean, it's not really that difficult, really. I mean, um, you just literally go down there and just start, yeah, networking, man. Just it's all about who you know, and if you can deliver and you can, you can really learn the material and you can show up and play, man, you'll definitely find work down there. But I think there are so many musicians, down there, man. It's just incredible. And the thing is, you have to ask yourself is like, what are you worth, because there are some guys that are working down there for very, very little money. Now it really depends on the venue, it depends on the band you're playing with, um, and so like that's why for me, like, I have a certain rate that I need to collect, because I've just been doing this for so long, and I have a lot of overhead. I need to be making more money than what these clubs are offering, and so those guys can take that gig. They can go and work for next to nothing. I'm just not interested. I honestly would rather just stay home. So for me, I'm very picky and very selective in what venue that I play and what band that I'm actually working with down there, because it's not always the same situation. That's the thing. There's a lot of ego down there. There's a lot of morons down there. There's a lot of guys that are pilled out, that are drunks, that, I've heard all kinds of horror stories down there of people not getting paid, and, then the guy leaves town and then he comes back 6 months later and he's under a different name and he's still doing the same thing, not paying the musicians. I mean, so it can really be chaotic, man, for sure. So I'm very picky and selective in who I really work with, because there are a lot of morons down there, to be honest with you, man. So for me, I have an acoustic duo gig that I do on Tuesdays. I have a Wednesday gig, which works great because I don't. So normally on the weekends I go out on the road, and it's just perfect because I'll play on a Tuesday or a Wednesday at 11 in the morning. I'm done at 3, so I have the whole rest of the day. I could teach later on, and or I could record here at home or whatever it is that I have going on. So that works really well for me in my schedule. But there are guys that do that though full time. If they have a family or something and they just don't really want to travel, or they don't really want to fuck with it. I mean, they could just stay right here in town, and just do the downtown thing. But I think it gets really tiring, because it's just the same songs. It's the same set over and over and over again. And it's like, it's so limiting creatively. It's just unbelievable. So that's why for me, like, I can't do it very much. I don't mind doing a couple, maybe on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, but I'm just not really willing to go crazy with it. So, but let's see here. Michael says here, what session guitarist has blown you away as far as musicianship? Man, I'm trying to think, man. I mean, I really liked Steve Lukather. I thought he was a great player. Really cool solos and cool phrases, like really unique stuff, man. Just to be honest with you, I mean, a lot of the guys like here in Nashville, I mean, I'm not saying that these guys aren't talented. They absolutely are. They absolutely are talented. But it's like, I've just listened to so many of these songs that have come out of Nashville now that it just feels so predictable as far as what they're going to do for the guitar hook, what they're going to play on the solo. Like, and a lot of the reason why that is because they just want the callback. They want the callback. They don't want to try to experiment with this stuff and try to do something different, try to step outside of the box instead of just doing the same things that they do on every single record and every single song. I mean, this stuff, and I teach this all the time in my online lessons, I could explain this stuff to you in a couple lessons as far as what these guys are doing. It's very, very simple stuff, and it's very elementary, to be honest with you. So To be honest, man, a lot of the stuff that comes out of here in Nashville is very predictable. And, again, it's because they want the callback, and also because, they are under a time restraint. They're doing a session, they're in a block for 4 hours, and they got to cut 2 or 3 tracks within those 4 hours. So the whole band is playing together. I've done these before. The whole band is playing in real time, and it's like whatever is the first thing that comes to the top of your mind, the top of your head, you're just going to commit to that part because you just have no time to experiment and actually write something and create something, do something different. And again, I've listened to so many of these songs that it's just so predictable. It's like I could hear a song for the first time and almost predict and tell you exactly what the ID lick will be, or the guitar hook, I'm saying when I say ID lick, and the guitar solo. It's very elementary stuff, man, to be completely honest with you. And again, the passion is just not there. I just don't feel the passion in the music, and that's why for me, I love all of the older stuff. I love what Steve Lukather did. All of those just early, records, man. I mean, like Zeppelin, and I mean, even Kiss, man. Like Ace Frehley's playing, like back in the day, man, when he was getting loaded and he was a younger guy, and he was playing his ass off. And that was another influence too on me too. I loved Ace, and I still do. He's awesome. He's hilarious, and I just love his playing. He was a huge influence on me too. But I just love all that stuff, man. It's so creative. Queen. Man, the guitar solos, the parts. Listen to Bohemian Rhapsody, of course. I mean, it's a legendary song, but it's like, dude, those parts, it's just epic. I mean, it is epic. And you just simply don't hear that kind of stuff anymore, and I think there's a lot of ego here in Nashville with a lot of these guys that talk a lot of shit, honestly, about how difficult it is to do this in the studio, but it's really not, man. It's honestly really not that hard to understand what is going on. So, I would say, honestly, Steve Lukather is great. I really like his playing. But let's see here. We have Blues R Us in the house. Hey, man, what's going on? Nice to see you. Thanks so much for being here. Let's see. Thoughts on Joshua Sloan? He has no releases, just TikToks, and is opening for Zach Bryan / John Mayer. Wild World. Yeah, I don't even know who the hell that is, man, to be honest with you. But I'm honestly not surprised. That is like the new thing nowadays. I mean, these guys go viral on TikTok or some kind of social media platform, and they're landing gigs like that, man. I mean, it just blows my mind. And they're so inexperienced, these guys that are here on social media. I listen to a lot of these guys, and they're playing even here on YouTube. I don't do TikTok, but I just hear this stuff, and I'm like, man, you could just hear it in their playing that they've never duked it out in the clubs for 10 years. They've never done a live gig. They've never done anything. And, these guys have these opinions, and there's just so much bullshit here on social media. It's just mind blowing. And, these guys that go viral on social media, you put them out on a gig and they just suck, man. They're just absolutely garbage. They're so green. They have no experience because they've never done this shit ever. And, there's a lot of fake bullshit on social media. These guys edit their fucking performance. They do 50 takes before they post it, Like there was some guy, I forget his name, but he was completely faking everything he was doing on guitar and posting it up on social media and going viral. I mean, it is, man. It's just a wild world. It's just bizarre, man. It's really effing bizarre. And that's just unfortunately where it is now, And even for myself as a player, man, as a musician, I honestly feel nowadays that I am forced to do social media. Honestly. It has been a game changer for my career, man. I never really did this stuff. I never really messed with it, but I'm telling you, man, it has changed my career, and that is why I do YouTube. I feel like I am forced to do this stuff. Now, I love doing it. I'm not complaining about it. I really appreciate everybody's support, and it's amazing the reach and the amount of people that I've met, through this, and the friends that I've made, and all the people I teach now. It's wonderful, But I do feel like I am forced to do this because it's just the new world, man. It's the new way in being in the music business. So it's really kind of frustrating, man, to be honest with you. And that just blows my mind. Guy goes viral on TikTok. Now he's opening for John Mayer. I mean, it's just wild. I mean, to think that that is going to translate well, where you have somebody that's doing TikTok videos in a spare bedroom, and now he's going to go out, and they're probably doing stadiums, I would imagine, or arenas or whatever. I mean, you really think that's going to translate well? It's just laughable, mind-blowing. But anyways, let's see here. We have Brett in the house. Hey, Brett, what's going on, man? How are you? Thanks so much for being here. He says here, hey, mate, love your channel and what you are doing all the way from here in Perth, Western Australia. Wow, no shit, man. That's amazing, man. Thank you, bro. Seriously, I really appreciate that. That's awesome. And, this is what I'm talking about. Like, this is the reach that I have with this stuff. I mean, and with social media in general. People from Australia here today in today's live stream. Thanks so much, bro, for being here. I appreciate it. But yeah, folks, once again, I do want to take the time to mention that I offer online lessons. These are totally private one-on-one online lessons. And you're actually seeing and hearing the exact setup that I use for these online lessons. It's a 4K camera. It's all pro audio. And what's so cool with these lessons is that you'll actually get a recorded copy of the lesson itself at the very end. So you can just simply download the video and rewatch it as many times as you want. So for more information on this, hit me up at jkm4231@gmail.com. And while you're down there in the description box, check out all of the other links that I have available. If you guys want to support me and support this channel, you could throw a little love in the Venmo Tip Jar or the PayPal Tip Jar, or even a super chat here in today's live stream. This live stream is a total donation of time. I make absolutely nothing on this, so I really need your help and your support. So any and all support is really appreciated. Check out all of the other links that I have down there in the description box there. I really do appreciate the hell out of that. So, again, thank you. And I cannot do this without you guys. So thank you for watching the videos, and thanks for your support. I really do appreciate it. But let's see here. And speaking of a super chat, we have a very loyal supporter here, Soft Southern Night. Thank you, bro. Seriously, man. God bless you, man. That's amazing, man. And Soft Southern Night here sends a $50 super chat. And he says, playing my Gibson L00. That's awesome, bro. Great, man. Enjoy that, man. That's excellent. Man, those smaller body acoustics are cool, man. I know Rick Rubin swears by those smaller body acoustics, to track with, because they do sit a little bit better in a track. It's a tighter, brighter, more focused sound rather than playing like a J45 or a Hummingbird. I mean, those sound great. I love those for that thing that it does, but those smaller body acoustics are great. They really just sit well, and that's awesome, man. I'm glad that you're enjoying that, and keep practicing, man. Keep playing. That's awesome. Thanks so much again for the super chat, man. I really do appreciate that. But once again, folks, if you guys want to support this channel, you can throw a little love here on the super chat, just like Soft Southern Night did. You could throw a little love in the Venmo or the PayPal tip jar as well. Once again, any and all support is really, really appreciated. Let's see here. Michael says here, I love my Tom Anderson angle. Any experience playing Tom Andersons? Man, I think I've played a couple of those over the years. I haven't really messed with them all too much. I know that they build a great product, I'm not too familiar with the sounds and the tones, if I really liked it or not. I can't really remember, to be honest with you, but I know that they make a very solid product for sure, man. There's a lot of companies out there, man, I've got to say, that are really, they're building, an excellent product. I mean, even PRS, this is a company that comes to mind off the top of my head. they build a very solid product, and it's a very consistent product, and that is a good thing, but it can also kind of be a bad thing, and like I like how with Gibsons, they're all a little bit different, and that's what I love with the vintage ones, they're all going to be just a little bit different, man, and I love finding that one particular one that is just magic. There's just no feeling like it, man, and I do kind of like that, to be honest, but I think for a new guitar, I mean, you could play 15 PRSs, and literally every single guitar is going to play and sound exactly the same. I mean, it's crazy. Now, I'm not a big fan of the PRS sounds, to be honest with you. I don't really like the tones that I hear with those guitars. But, they really do build a very solid and consistent product. So, kudos to them. But let's see here. Michael says here, who is making a great humbucker guitar that is like a Les Paul but is not a Gibson? A great humbucking guitar that is like a Les Paul. Man, off the top of my head, man, I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know, man, to be honest with you. I just like to use an R9 just for the neck profile, which is not totally dead on like a 59 Les Paul, but it works, it's fine. Those R9s are cool. They work. They need a lot of work for sure, but I guess there is Heritage. I've never personally tried them, but they build those guitars in the Kalamazoo factory that the old Gibsons were made in, which is kind of like their marketing thing, but I've never actually tried them, man, to be honest with you. Not really sure, to be honest. There's just, in my opinion, not really a great option for a modern Les Paul. They're just completely different instruments. They're just not the same as the old Les Pauls. And, even like a late 60s Les Paul Custom. I mean, I love those guitars. They're badass, Yeah, they have the small frets, but man, you could just simply refret it with a little bit taller frets. And I'm telling you, those guitars are amazing, man. Those late 60s Customs, man, they are badass and will blow away any R9, So that's something to check out if you have the budget. I mean, they're not cheap, they're very expensive, but they are amazing, amazing instruments. Let's see, we have Revelry 1969 in the house. Hey, what's going on, man? Nice to see you. Long time no see. He says here, hi, Justin. How are you enjoying the 61335? Man, it is excellent. I have it right here in my guitar rack. It's right on the corner there. But yeah, it is amazing, man. I think it's the nicest cherry I've ever seen. It's literally 100% original. There has been no modifications to that guitar whatsoever. It is absolutely dead on perfect. And it's so funny because there's a lot of BS online opinions, and stay tuned. I am going to address this in a video, but there's a lot of people that say like these 61s are a blade neck 335, which there are some that are very thin. But, taking measurements of my 61 335, the neck is almost identical to a 59. I actually have a 59 335 here in my studio right now, and I'm going to compare these measurements, and you're going to find out how interesting this is, and how similar that 59 neck profile really is to a 61 335, at least mine in particular, It is not that extreme, and that's also something that a lot of these reissues get incorrect. Like I have this blonde 335, this blonde 335 here, and it's a 59 reissue, right? And so the neck profile on this thing is like a baseball bat, man. I mean, it's not even close to what a 59 neck profile is like, in my opinion. those 59 neck profiles are much slimmer than a lot of people think. A lot of people think that they're these big baseball bat necks. Now, you would see that in 58. 58, you would see some baseball bat necks, but not really in 59. A lot of those guitars are slimmer neck profiles. And again, depending on how the transition is done from the neck to the fretboard and how that feels, it's really going to change your perception on how thick or how thin the neck is. So, you take these measurements and you see these BS online opinions from these dealers that are asking $85K for a 59 335, and they try to shit on 61 335s. And it's like, man, you have to read between the lines here. Like, this guy is just lining up his own pockets. He's trying to sell 59 335s for 85 grand. So of course he's going to try to give this opinion and say this stuff about other instruments because it's not what he sells really, And I just think there is so much BS and so much hype online here with these neck profiles, man. It is just not accurate. And now I'm talking about the 61 that is mine in particular. Again, it's a very similar profile, almost identical. Just a little bit, just a tiny bit slimmer at the 12th fret in comparison to a 59. But you would never notice that to the touch, man. I mean, it is so minimal, it's unbelievable. So, but again, it really depends on what instrument you're talking about. Once again, the 61 that I have here in particular is very similar. Now, there's some people that try to say that if you turn a truss rod screw, you're going to crack the neck. I mean, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, there is no way that neck, at least on mine, is that thin. There's just no way. But let's see here. We have Bizarre Pudding, okay, in the house here with a $10 super chat. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it. It says here, hi, Justin. Have you ever experimented with using a thumb pick? Do you know any players other than Brent Mason who uses a thumb pick? Great channel, Justin. Thanks so much, man. I really appreciate that. I have. I just don't really like it. It's not really my style. If I'm going in for more of that kind of country chicken picking kind of thing, I actually will hide the pick and then I use my fingers. That's just what feels very natural to me. I'm able to use my thumb, and I have a lot of meat on my thumb, so I can really get that very staccato, very percussive kind of country picking sound with just my fingers. So I like that. I like doing that, and it just feels right to me with hiding the pick and then rolling it out and being able to strum for rhythm playing, for chords and stuff like this. Just not really crazy about the thumb picks, but to each their own. Brent is great. He's an amazing player. Just really ideal for that country sound for sure, man. He's great. But off the top of my head, man, I don't really know of other players off the top of my head. I'm sure I know some that use it, but I'm kind of just drawing a blank right now off the top of my head. So, but really do appreciate the question. Thanks so much again for that super chat. And if you yourself want to support the channel, be sure to throw a little super chat here in today's live stream, or a little love on the Venmo or the PayPal tip jars. Any and all support, once again, is really appreciated. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Reverie says here, yeah, with the necks, they were made in batches by different people and probably varied on stock available. My 61 is a blade for sure, but I love it. I love that thin, fast neck. That's awesome, man. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, they're all a little bit different, They're all made by hand. So it really varies, But it is just funny, like, people will try to say that in general 61s are all like that. And it's just not true, man. It's just simply not true at all. So, and that's all my point was with it, But yeah, folks, man, we've already been going here for almost an hour, man. I really do appreciate everybody's support and everybody's questions and stuff and all the super chats. Once again, if you guys want to support me in this channel, check out all of the links that I have down below in the description box. There are many ways you can support me. I do offer one-on-one lessons online here as well. I'm tripping up on my words. So if you are interested on that, send me an email at jkm4231@gmail.com. And if you do want to support me as well, I have tip jars with PayPal and Venmo and Super Chat here in today's live stream. So again, any and all support is really appreciated. If you guys have any other questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep going. It looks like we have a pretty solid crowd here still. So if you guys, have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. Be happy to answer. I do need to take a little drink here, though, a little break. It's a lot of talking on these live streams, man, for sure. It can definitely be a lot. Whew. Fun, though. Always fun, for sure. Always really look forward to doing these live streams. It's always so fun hanging out with everybody, and it's just great to see a lot of familiar names. And again, I really appreciate everybody's support so much. Stay tuned. Coming up, I'm going to be doing that 335 video where I'm going to be comparing a 59 reissue 335 with a real 59 335. And then I'm also going to compare my 61 335 that I own personally here as well. So stay tuned for all of that. I'm going to be talking a lot about that and what all is wrong with the reissue guitars. And man, I noticed a huge difference between the reissues and the vintage 335s. That is one instrument that is just really, really not right. There's a lot of stuff that is not right with that guitar. But I will say that this reissue that I have here, this blonde 335, I do like the tone of it, man. I do like the sound of it. I changed out the pickups and the pots and the caps and stuff. And I put on some old Kluson no-line tuners from 58. And man, that guitar sounds killer now. It really, really sounds good. But, it's so important to get the ABR, the studs, the, saddles, the thumb wheels, the studs, like that entire thing, man, you really have to get correct with it because that really changes the tone of the sound acoustically. So in turn, that's going to change your plugged-in sound. So that's really something that you really need to get correct and get right on this. And I notice a huge difference acoustically on the 335s especially. That it's a very sharp, very bright kind of tone acoustically, whereas the vintage 335s acoustically are very warm. There's much more low end. It's not this bright, really a lot of top end in the acoustic sound. It's just not like that with the vintage 335. So I'm going to be talking all about that, so stay tuned for that video. But let's see here. Blues R Us says here, thanks for your time, man. I'm planning a trip to Nashville soon. What's a good venue to check out the local scene? Oh, man, no problem, man. Thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Let's see, a good venue. Man, Basement East is cool. I love that place. Where else? There is the original Basement as well, which is very small in comparison to the Basement East. That's a cool venue. Let's see. They just opened up the Pinnacle, which is it's a big venue there. But I've been really curious about that for sure. That looks really cool. There's so many good venues here, man. It's crazy. Even what is that in Germantown there? Brooklyn Bowl. They have a couple of them across the country. You're probably familiar with that place, but they have one here in Nashville. I love that place, man. I've seen a bunch of shows there, and the one here in Nashville is just amazing, man. I really, really dig it. So, yeah, I would check those out. Let's see. Revelry says here, I agree, not all 60, 61, 62 were blades, but they are thinner in this period in general. But again, depending on stock available and whoever worked it, there were some thicker profiles. Yeah, totally. And that's the thing that's so funny. If you take a measurement at the first fret on mine and I compare it to a real 59 at the first fret, mine is actually a bit thicker, than the actual 59 at the first fret. Now, when you get to the 12th fret, it is just a little bit slimmer, just a little bit, less than a 16th of an inch slimmer at the 12th fret. But there is no way that you're going to tell me that that is that much of a difference, that you're really going to feel that. Because again, the transition from the neck to the board has a huge role on what your perception is and how that neck feels and how thick or how thin it is. The transition is everything. And that's something I think people just really overlook, There's no way that a 16th of an inch, it's even less than that actually, because at the 12th fret there, but it still fans out just like they all do, All of those guitars, it'll be a little bit slimmer at the first fret, and then it fans out and gets a bit thicker at the 12th fret, And again, it is just not that much thinner, at least on mine, once again. But let's see, Bizarre Pudding says here, if you had to choose between an artist with a small budget whose material you loved and an artist with a much bigger budget whose material you really didn't like, which way would you go? Man, that's a great question. I would definitely choose the great material for sure, hands down, without a doubt. Because to me, if you're really doing a gig just for the money, you're never going to be happy. Those are honestly always the worst gigs, man. And I know from experience, I've been there, I've done that, where I've taken gigs just for the money. And, the pay was great, man. And, it was awesome. It was excellent. But it's like the music just sucks and I'm not inspired, And fortunately now for me, I'm in a position where I really take these gigs just out of the pure love of performing and playing great music. So like I was talking about earlier, I'm very picky and very choosy in who I work with because, I really need to feel inspired to play this stuff, That's a big thing for me. I need to have a great time on stage. The experience is so important to me, and it's literally everything to me. And a part of what makes that experience good is playing great music. Of course, the people play a role as well. The people that you're playing with, that you're, sharing a tour bus or a van with or whatever, you got to be able to get along with these motherfuckers, But, I mean, it's, one of those things. The experience is so important. And I really don't do this for the money. That's not why I do this, If I was in the music business for the money, I would have gotten out of this a long time ago, man, for sure. I just do it because I love to play. I love to play live, man. I love to play guitar and I love playing music. And especially with good people and friends, I've made so many good friends through music that have become lifelong friends, and that's what it's all about, man, to me. Of course, I do make a living at this. This is my full-time job, so of course I do need to make money. So that's where it can be, kind of tricky at times. Sometimes you do have to take those gigs for the money because I have to hit a certain number every year for me to be able to survive and to do all of the things that I do. So there are some times where I do have to take a gig because of the money, but definitely I would always choose the artist that has great music. That is hands down always going to be my answer with that. Great question. Excellent. Let's see here. Reverie says here, on bridges and saddles and thumb wheels and bridge pins, the bridge is huge. Four Uncles bridge, I would say, matches a vintage bridge. That's cool. Man, I've been really curious about the Four Uncles bridge. I've been looking into that, and I really would like to try it. I do actually have an original 50s ABR1 that I thought about maybe putting on my R9, but I don't know, man. I'm kind of almost thinking to just get one of those Four Uncles because those old ABRs are selling for so much money nowadays. It's unbelievable. So it's like, I think in this ABR that I have also has the original box and stuff. I mean, it's crazy, man. It's so clean. It's nuts. So I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'll just keep that in the box and just collect it and just get one of those four uncles. And this way, it is a new bridge. You know, it's not going to be sagging or there's not going to be any cracks or anything in it. I think it just makes a lot of sense. So I'm definitely going to probably pick that up for sure, to be honest with you. Um, so I'd be curious to get your feedback on that. Let's see. Reverie says here, took me years and years to find a neck I liked. Yeah, takes time, man. Don't fret it says here, are you still working with that singer? I mean, man, I work with so many singers, you know, so I mean, this is all I do for a living, you know. So it's like, yeah, I work with tons. Let's see here. I use four uncles on my reissues and they sound just like vintage. Interesting, man. That's really cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. The guy that made that, man, he's a really smart guy, man, and I totally agree with everything that he was saying. You know, the material is all incorrect with this stuff, and it's just kind of funny. It's like, I don't know why Gibson just doesn't have him make the bridge and the saddles and all this stuff, and just they can throw that on these R9s. I mean, it makes a huge difference, man, in the acoustic sound, you know. And that's the thing that just drives me nuts with the reissues. You know, they're very bright and thin and just not good sounding acoustically at all. You know, it's not like the old ones, man, at all. So, but that's cool there. Once again, you know, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. I'd be happy to answer. If you guys feel like you got something out of today's live stream and you do want to support me, feel free to throw a little love in the Venmo tip jar or the PayPal tip jar or even a super chat here in today's live stream. Any and all support is really appreciated. Again, really do appreciate it. And I really do need your support because I can't do this without you guys. Um, this is truly a donation of time here on this channel. I really don't make very much of anything on this, so I really do need your help to continue on. So check out all of the links down below in the description box if you guys would like to support me. Again, I really do appreciate it. Let's see. To also get my reissues to sound like a vintage Les Paul, I use Allen Dingwall pickups. Interesting. I'll have to look into that. And you also say here, thanks, Justin. Need to re-up my lessons sometime. Yeah, man, definitely. Just let me know, man, for sure. It's been a long time, man, so definitely hit me up, and I'd be happy to get you down, for sure. Let's see. Don't fret it says here, I was talking about the original project with Chris Keller. Oh, yeah, man. So right now, that has kind of been put off for a little bit. I'm kind of thinking in the wintertime, I'm thinking about going into the studio and just recording some tracks, But I've been trying to kind of weigh out what I want to do because, to be honest with you, to go in the studio, it's going to cost a lot of money. It's going to cost probably 30, 40K to record something that I'm looking to do. And, it's kind of like, man, I could take that 30 or 40K and actually invest it into my own studio where I could turn it into a recording studio, space. I could turn it into a rehearsal facility where I could rent it out to bands. There's just a lot of stuff that I could do with having my own space for my own studio. And 30 or 40K would be a pretty good amount actually to play with for investing that into my own studio. So that's kind of the thing, man, is it's kind of hard for me to say. I'm kind of debating what I want to do there. But, Chris is a great singer, man. I think we have something really cool there for sure. But I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do. So, but thanks so much for asking. Let's see. Bizarre Pudding says here, I'm a singer-songwriter in New York City, mediocre guitar player. Whenever I've asked good musicians to support me, they always ask to hear the material before they ask about the money. Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, it's so important, man. Like, the music has to be right, and that's just what it is. I mean, of course, like, you can't get taken advantage of, You definitely need to put your foot down, and you need to, you know, raise concern if the pay is just not great, you know. But you know, it really ultimately is all about the music, you know. You know, it's literally everything, you know, and that is a huge part of the experience with playing, obviously. It's the kind of music you're playing, you know. And so that's just a huge thing, man. So yeah, that's exactly how I look at it. It's so important. But thanks again for that super chat too, by the way. I really do appreciate that. That's awesome. But yeah, folks, I think I'm gonna get cut in here, man. I've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes now at this point, so I think I'm gonna sign off here. If you guys have any last minute questions, feel free to leave it there in the chat box. And once again, if you guys do want to support me, check out all of the links that I have down below in the description box. There are many ways you can support me in this channel. You know, and stay tuned. I have a bunch more videos coming out here soon. I'm going to be doing this amazing 335 video and really go into detail and talk a lot about the reissues and what are wrong with them. And I'm going to be comparing a 59, a real 59 335 with my 61 as well. So stay tuned for all of that. And again, I can't do this without you guys. I really do appreciate everybody's support so much. You guys mean the world. And if you guys do want to support me, check out all of the links down below. There's many ways. And stay tuned. Once again, I have a bunch more videos coming out. Bizarre Pudding here says, thanks so much for your time, Justin. Love what you're doing here. Thanks so much, man. Really do appreciate that. And appreciate your support and appreciate everybody's support once again. But that is all for today, folks. Again, I really appreciate it. Come on back and join me next Sunday. I'm going to be going live once again, 11:30 a.m. Central Time. So come on back and join me here. I'm going to be in Arizona, actually, next Sunday. That just hit me. So that should work out fine. I'll be in a different time zone, but I'm spending a week out there. Going to be doing a week run in Arizona. So we got a bunch of gigs out there. But really looking forward to that too. That should be a really nice trip, but nice time of the year out there too. But anyways, stay tuned for more videos and come on back and join me. Thanks again so much for your support and watching. I really appreciate it. We'll see y'all next time. Take care.